Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the flight deck. David, hello, welcome. And to everybody who's joining us, we are in Albany, New York. We are continuing on with our tour of the U.S. capitals down in the lower 48. Today we're flying from Albany, New York. We're going to fly southwards down to Trenton, New Jersey. So we're going to head down the Hudson River and then follow a couple VORs out towards Trenton. Weather is a bit cloudy out here. And looks like we may have rain down in Trenton, so we'll have to see what happens there. But today we are flying on the multiplayer server, and that will make things a little bit more relaxed for today's flight. So let's hop on board and get everything up and running. Alright, so we're here on board the DC-3. This is Airplane Heaven's DC-3 with the Ductworks mod, making it just a little bit nicer. See, we got that cloud cover there. We're going to be going up to, let's see what our flight plan says. We're going up to 10,000 feet today. That could be interesting. Total flight distance is about 170 miles. So it looks like we may be in and out of the weather on this trip today. Alright, so to get the aircraft up and going, we're going to come up. We're going to have them hook up the battery cart. The alignment knobs for the INS, yes. We're going to turn on our position lights. Alright, we are good there. We're going to have to let the engines warm up a little bit. We'll make sure that switch is pushed all the way in. Turn our mags in for both engine. You were flying yesterday and one of them failed. Oh, did you have failures on? That would do it. There's procedures for dealing with that if it fails. I don't fly with failures just because I like to do everything and not have to worry about things breaking. Sometimes I do enough on my own to screw things up. Don't want to be worried about everyone else. Alright, so we have that. We're going to come down here. We'll turn the fuel tanks on to our left engine to left main, right engine to right main. They are set. Alright, we'll start the right engine first. So, boost pump is going on. Mixture is going to go to auto rich. Let's make sure everything is set. We're going to crack the throttle. And turn the generator on. We'll right engine energize. And once that's up and running, we'll get the aircraft locked up. And then we'll be able to start the left engine. Alright, sounds good. So, I'll go right engine, mesh, and prime. No. Alright, I'm going to try something here. You shouldn't have to do this, but I'm going to push the prop all the way forward as well. And let's try that again. So we'll energize the right engine. Good, mags are on. Mesh and prime. Yeah, she's up and running. So once that prop fully forward, and I'm not sure why you don't actually need to do that on a round engine. That's fine. We'll let that start up. So with that going, we'll get those back doors closed and locked up. And As the engine comes up, we'll turn on the left boost pump, left generator, bring the left mixture up to auto rich, prop lever fully forward, we'll energize the flywheel on the left side, that's up and going. And we will mesh the left side prime. There she goes. Nice chunk of smoke out of there. And we'll let those engines come up to speed as well. So while they're doing that, we got the generators on so we can remove the battery cart. Switch over to our internal battery. Avionics are on. We'll make sure the beacon is up and going. Turn on the pitot heat. There we go, and we'll let the engines warm up. I saw you in Walmart yesterday. I do not think so. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of flying. We're going to head down towards the IGN VOR, and the IGN VOR frequency is 117.6. I was going to follow the river, but it looks like we got some pretty heavy cloud cover, so we're not going to be able to do that. So 117.6. Put that in as our primary. And our secondary is the SAX VOR 115.7. So we'll dial that in on our standby. And we're also going to put it over here on our nav2 on 1157. And our next one is the SBJ VOR, which is going to be a 112.9. So we'll make sure that one is dialed in and ready to go. So we're going to want to be flying a heading of 190 degrees. So we'll come down here and 190. We'll dial that in. Not that we really use this, but that's fine. Probably use this more. If we turn this down to 190, this will at least give us a rough direction of heading that we are going to want. There we go. And let's grab the weather. Throw it into the chat. So as you can see, winds are variable at 4 knots, 10 miles of visibility, scattered at 3,600, broken at 4,700, broken at 9,000, 26 degrees out, 3026 on the barrel. Fairly high pressure here. Right about there. 3026. Fuel is looking good on both tanks. I don't do it for the views, David. This is my hobby. I do it for fun, and if I can share with somebody and make them happy or give them information and help them do better in the sim, that's all that matters. I am perfectly fine with that. Alright, so we are tuned in. We are kind of ready to go. We're going to be taking off on runway 19er. So we're going to be taxiing out from here We're going to head up this way. That's 19 over there as we leave Albany. So everything is clear. Wheel chocks are gone. We're clear down there, so we'll get the landing lights on. That can stay off. That's good. And 200 feet on our limit switch. This is all good. Set that to 2,000. Generators are on, boost pumps are on, sidewall cockpits. These are in trail. I think we are ready to taxi out. We will switch over to auxiliary pumps once we're up in, or tanks once we're up in cruise. We're carrying about 95 gallons in the auxiliaries, so we'll burn some of that as we go. Alright, so let's pop out. We'll release the brakes. There we go. And we're going to taxi out. So we're going to move forward to taxiway Alpha, and then we'll taxi down. So we are running the multiplayer mod, or multiplayer mod and multiplayer. Just looking to see if there's anyone around us. Not seeing anyone at the moment. That's okay. Should pick them up a little bit further as we get down towards New York. So this is a nice long taxi. It'll give the engines time to warm up. On these round engines, especially air-cooled engines, they do need a little bit of time to warm up and make sure all the metals have expanded properly. Come down here, we can see our temperatures, so especially the cylinder temperatures. That's what we keep an eye on. So they're just coming up into the green now. Cross over runway 10. Now, I had gone in and changed. Let me quickly go in and look at something. I had gone in and upped. Yeah, see these drop back again. I'm not sure why. Let's go default and save. There we go. And pop in quickly. Alright. Let's see how that does. I do gotta go reset my settings a little bit. See if we get some better graphical detail in here without hitting performance too hard. Idle the engines too low. We want to keep them at about 1,000 RPM. A little low. Brakes. There we go. Alright, so we're on the brakes. Engines are up. Temperatures are good. Cylinder head temperatures are good. Fuel flow is good. Come over here. reset my gyros. Oh, not that one. Come on. There we go. That will give me my autopilot when we're ready. And I want to set this to an initial heading of 190, and we'll adjust from there. Alright, so everything is good. We'll come up, look at the lights, batteries, avionics are good, beacons on, landing lights are on, position lights are on, pitot heat's on, and everything else is ready to go. Let's close the windows. Make sure they're closed on both sides. Yes, they are. And we can move out and take position. We are runway 19er, nicely lined up. All right, we're gonna go quarter flaps, and we are ready to go. So we're gonna go up to 40 inches of manifold pressure for takeoff. So we'll start bringing the power up, nice and slow. 20 inches, brakes released. 40 inches, takeoff power set. Tail coming up on the rudders, keeping her down the center line. 60 knots. 80 knots, gonna have a little bit of back pressure. It's 90 knots. And we are airborne. Gear up. Nice and slow retraction there. There we go. Some neighbor tags popping in. I'm gonna try to trim her for about 120, 115 on the climb. Speaking of which, we're going to bring the prop RPM down to 2,500 and our manifold pressure down to 35 for climb power. There we go. Reset the props. Start to trim it out. And we're high enough now. There's flaps retraction. And we are en route. So this is basically our heading down to our next VOR. Just working that trim. There's Albany, downtown Albany, ahead of us. Right over there. Alright, so let's get the autopilot on. Be climbing up that speed down to that climb speed of about 120. Make our turn and line up here. Alright, as we can see, there's the Hudson River. Kind of going to be following the valley a little bit. We'll kind of cross back and forth over it as it meanders. We're almost at 120 knots. Aim to keep it there. 35 inches of manifold pressure, 2500 RPM is looking good. Pressures and temperatures are all in the green. Carb is fine. 3,000 feet, and we are climbing. Very nice. And there's Albany Airport as we depart. Again, we got some low cloud here. I'm not worried about icing, as it is pretty warm, but will affect visibility a little bit once we get up. Those are the Catskills and Allegheny Mountains. We're going to be flying through and past a little bit of it. Coming up on 4,000 feet. Airspeed slowing down, so we'll notch forward a little bit. Decrease our rate of climb to keep that speed up. Don't want to get going too slow. Alright, so as we pass through 4,000 feet, we can get on a little bit of music in the background. Let's see if we can find something that kind of fits in here. Lo-fi music, and there's the clouds coming up. Did say 4,000 feet, 4,500. We're starting to get into that now. Again, keeping an eye on that airspeed, just at that yellow line, so I'm going to notch down again slightly. And again, just trying to keep that airspeed up, not letting it get too slow as we head up for 10,000 feet. Also watching our power level. As you can see, as we climb up, our manifold pressure is decreasing. That is caused by the air pressure going down as we get higher, so we're just going to keep pushing the throttle forward. Keep that 35. Then when we get high enough, we'd reach a point where we couldn't push the throttles forward any further. At that point, we would back off the throttles, turn on the blowers, and that would give us an increase in pressure. Shouldn't need those today. It's not too bad looking down on the Hudson River there. We are just leaving the southern end of Albany now. And as I mentioned, I think when we flew in here a couple of weeks ago, I flew in here I've been here in real life, flying in myself, so it's a nice place. Cleared customs here when I came down from my home airport. Now we do have some weather down in the Trenton area that may be a little bit interesting with some rain, but we'll see what happens there. May end up trying to do the ILS, in which case we'll be using this gauge down here for our glide slope and localizer. The current weather down in Trenton, New Jersey is, oh, the rains have stopped, but it is forecast in the future. It's currently clear, but the winds are going to be picking up later, and winds are, it's a little bit of a strong breeze out of the east, so it looks like we'll be landing on runway 06. Bringing up the ILS chart for 06 in case I need it. Not expecting to. That's more throttle again. Let's go through 7,500. Definitely up into the clouds now. It's 8,000 feet coming up. Our speed is looking good. Of course, we'll set cruise power of 30 inches and 20 or 2,000 RPM on the engines, and then whatever speed we achieve in level flight is what our cruise speed will be. 2,000 feet to go. Everything is looking good. We can shut off the boost pumps. They're not needed now. Looks like we're coming to the top of the clouds. This could be pretty cool if we're skimming the tops. We're tracking inbound. Looks like that's the VOR 2, I believe, if I switch that over. Yeah, that's VOR 2. So we're not picking up VOR 1 yet. It's 9,000 feet coming up. 1,000 to go. These are the wiper controls. Air-driven wipers. I haven't seen those since the old Army Jeeps I used to drive back in the day. 35 inches. 500 feet to go. Yeah, definitely coming out of the clouds here. Alright, there's 700 feet, so we're going to start to push down our nose, start leveling off, let the speed start to build up. 100 feet to go. And we'll try to hold it around 10,000 feet. So we'll turn off our landing lights since we're out of the clouds. Leave the other lights all on. And as the speed picks up, we're going to have to keep pushing the nose down. Give it a minute here. Let that speed come through 140, and then we'll go into cruise power. 140, so we're going to set cruise power, so RPMs are going to come back to 2,000 RPM on both engines. Alright, with that set, we're going to bring the power back to 30 inches. And then we're going to readjust our RPM to make sure they are at 2,000. There we go. And now we're going to keep readjusting to keep us for 10,000 feet. That should bring us up to about 165 to 170 knots of air speed. And that is our cruise power set. Now that we are nice and level, we are going to come down here and we're going to very, very carefully go into the auxiliary tanks. So that is the left on the auxiliary and the right on the auxiliary. So if we switch over now to our auxiliary tanks and monitor them, you can see where we've used up a little bit of fuel in the mains, but the auxiliaries have a little bit more. That's what we're going to monitor, and we're going to burn down on the auxiliaries. And when we start our descent for landing, we'll switch back to the mains if we haven't done it prior to that. So there's nav 1 is kicked in. That's the big thick arrow, and you can see we're slightly off on the radial we want to be flying, but that is fine. Just using it as guidance, because if we turn this, see, we are actually on that radial there. There we go, about 166 knots. We're at 10,000 feet. A click up, just because we were slightly down. And last thing we're going to come over here is put our cowl flaps into trail. Cowl flaps are located on the engines here. They're closing up slightly, and they will automatically monitor the engine temperature and adjust to keep the airflow over the engine to the point where it is perfect for them and the temperature they're at, and that'll give us a couple more knots. As you can see, we're going up to 170 now. Click up, and there we are, 10,000 feet over New York State. And again, there's the Hudson River. We're going to be flying down the east side of it for a bit as we head down to Poughkeepsie. It's where that first VOR is, and then we're going to head southwest. We've got 125 miles to go, and at this point we're just cruising and monitoring. We're getting a little low, so we're going to give it a couple clicks upwards, get us try to recover that 100 feet, and we're trying to keep around 10,000 as close as we can to it. Monitoring everything now. And we'll see the other needle swing around a little bit more to the southwest, and then we will pick up the next radial as we head out. The next radial being 232. When we get there, sure that came across because it's picking up the computer sounds. Alright, so we're a little above 10,000 now, so we'll give it a notch on the down. And again, we're just trying to keep it in that 10,000 area. It's not precise. There's no accurate altitude hold in this aircraft. We are dealing with something that is 1930s, late 19 or mid 1930s technology here. And this is the one that does not have the GPS in it. We are flying it old school. Looking nice, very basic, but has everything you need. There's the Hudson Valley and the Hudson River. I think we got a nice... I thought I'd set up some inside views, but no, haven't done it. Very classic early airliner. Kind of the aircraft that set the concept of airliners and has really established air travel in a lot of the world. Alright, let's see how that storm is doing. It's still down there, but it's not too bad. See how the weather changes. Not sure why it's reporting clear skies in the Meta, because it's definitely not. Oh, that's better. Scattered at 3,200, overcast at 3,900, and light rain. So winds are still favoring 0.6, so that's good. So we'll probably tune in the ILS just as a reference. Winds are 16, gusting 19, so it is going to be windy for the arrival. And we're going to start down about 40 miles or so out to get us down to a good altitude. The ILS is 2,700. We do have a VOR on the field, which we'll also tune in on VOR number 2, as we're using VOR 1 for the ILS. Hey Brian, not too bad. We're at 10,000 feet, cruising over New York State down the Hudson Valley. It's the Hudson River right there. We're just coming up for Poughkeepsie, and we're going to start working our way around the greater New York area to the west, and then we'll be descending down to land in Trenton, New Jersey, which is our next capital of New Jersey. And we do have some weather coming up, so we're going to be dialing in the ILS stuff, and we'll see how that works out for us. We'll be using it as a reference. But other than that, the flight's going well. How's your week going? You're halfway through. Hope everything's good up in Cowtown. And monitoring gauges, manifold pressure, and prop RPM are good. We are slightly high and in a slight climb, so we'll notch down slightly on the altitude hold. The trim anyway, to get us back down to 10,000 feet. Still tracking inbound to the IGN VOR on 117.6 and 1157. Our secondary is there, and we're going to want a 232 heading as we head out. Heading up your way on next Thursday. Actually, I'll be in town, just going in for the day. I got to I'm going over to the Rockcliffe for the museum. Oh, one thing I did forget to do is take the engines into auto lean, so we'll do that now. I mean, she's only using the fuel she needs to use. We'll decrease our fuel burn. Not that we're going far enough to worry about it. We will later on. We're going to have to worry about it some of the longer flights out further west. We're still in trail on both. Everything is looking good. We'll probably end up using the blowers when we cross the Rockies. Yeah, the last time I was out, they didn't have the other hangar open, so hoping to get in there to take a look around. Last week I was up at the Bush Plane Museum in Sault Ste. Marie. So next week I'm heading up to Ottawa for the National Museum. It's been a while, a few years. Good few years, so be nice to see it again. Alright. I'm gonna bring up our descent rate there. We're back down to around 10,000. Yeah, I got a little bit of time in the next few weeks, so I'm hitting a few museums. The beginning of July, I'm heading down to Washington and doing the Smithsonian. They've redone it, and I figured it'd be pretty cool to go take a look at it, the Air and Space Museum, because I haven't been there in over 30 years. So see it, and then also head out to that hangar they've got up on the airfield with all the big airplanes up there, which I've never been to. So figured that'd be a pretty cool thing to go do, so I am going to go do it. Alright, so we are getting close to the next VOR. We should see the needle flip. I was impressed when I was there last time, and then I was just reading that they've spent the last couple years redoing it all. So, time to go back. I think so. Yeah. I'm flying into Reagan down on the Potomac, so I'm hoping to get the river visual. I've never done that approach, so it would be a nice one to get. Alright, so we're holding at 10,000. All is good. We're under the 100 miles to go. Like I said, we're going to slowly start down when we're about 40 miles. Maybe about 35 miles out, because we are going to have to fly past the airport and get ourselves set up. We are running into the tops of the clouds here. Oh, a little bit of turbulence. There's Poughkeepsie below us. There's the river. And that's all the traffic down in New York. So we're going to head this way, kind of go around the edge of it. And there we are. We can see the needle starting to move rapidly. We're coming up on the VOR. So let's, we don't have to be 100% accurate and overfly. So let's set 1157 in as our primary. We're going to switch over to our next one, 1129, on our standby on VOR2. And what we can do is pull up the one for the airport, 108.2, and we'll get that in here as our next one, and then after we run that one, we'll put in the ILS frequency on VOR1 as our reference. So that is in. We're now going to turn to a heading of 232, and we're going to track out to follow the needle here. And that's taking us out to the Sax VOR, which is the Sparta VOR, and we're basically flying to the west side of the greater New York area. There we go, something like that. And we are all looking good. So manifold pressure, RPMs are good. Temperatures and pressures are looking good. I don't think the carb temperatures work in this. They're fine. I'm not seeing any rough. I'm not getting any RPM losses due to carb ice, so assuming that is all good. We got about a 48-mile run on this leg, or about 45 miles now. So we should be good. So let's dial this around to 232. And we're about there. And we're tracking inbound. Definitely getting a little bit of turbulence here. We're getting bounced around. See, not only the compass shaking, but the aircraft is swinging left and right. Of course, we're just at the top of the clouds, and this is where the convection's coming up to build the clouds, so we're going to get bumped slightly. But it is looking good. $88 miles to go, coming up on halfway. Our ground speed's not too bad, 172. Just watching our altitude, we'll notch down slightly. Some nice views out the windows. Not too bad riding on the top of the clouds. Hudson River is right below us. We're crossing over to the other side. We're going to say goodbye to the Hudson River. It's going to carry on down to New York. And we're going to be flying west of the greater New York built-up area and into New Jersey. Heading to the southwest of New York City. There's the Hudson River. It runs down and of course ends up running down the west side of Manhattan Island. So New York is off in that direction. Constantly monitoring altitude, direction, engines, temperatures, pressures. Everything is good. Now imagine flying something like this across the Atlantic. They still do it. I still take them over there sometimes. Especially some of the old warbirds go over for anniversaries and stuff like that. I mean, they do fly. They don't go direct, obviously. They usually fly up to Gander in Newfoundland, and then from there they'll fly to Greenland, then Greenland to Iceland, and then Iceland over into either Ireland or Scotland, and then wherever they're going from there into Europe. So they do it in 3 or 4 legs. It must be pretty interesting taking a old 90-year-old airplane across. There's a video on YouTube of a guy that did it a few years ago. Shows them doing all the legs over as they ferry the aircraft over. I think it was for a D-Day celebration or anniversary flyover. So everything is looking good. I'll do a notch down just because we're up to 100 feet over. Let's see if we can get that back down. Again, everything is looking good. Leaving the Hudson River behind. So I've just been planning some future series coming up, as some of the ones we're doing are going to be coming to an end. 2 of them in particular only have about 5 flights left to go. And we're looking at doing more prop aircraft. Some modern prop and some vintage prop. So I think it's going to get kind of interesting with what we're doing in different parts of the world and flying around, so we'll see what happens. Alright, so we're not picking up VOR2, and VOR2 is the SBJ VOR. It's 1129. It should be in 1129. If I go into Navigraph and look it up, it's a low altitude VOR, so we won't pick it up until we're a bit closer. But we are tracking inbound to the Sparta VOR, or Spartan VOR. We are on course for that. $71 miles to go. While we're cruising along here and everything is pretty stable, I'm just going to go get myself a bottle of water, and so we're ready for our arrival. I'll be right back. Alright, well the sky's looking deceptively clear at the moment, but let's see what we're heading in towards. Some pretty good buildup over there. And as mentioned, it is forecast raining at this current point in time, so it could get interesting. Make a slight adjustment. We seem to be tracking slightly off, so we want to head a little bit. No, there's the little bumps, a little bit further south, so we'll just do an adjustment there. Please do a face reveal. I do not have a web camera, David, so can't do that, and really got no interest in doing that type of thing, so it's more about the sim. Alright, let's bring her around a little bit further. Try to get ourselves lined up on that needle, get her pointing directly to it. So we're getting bumped here. Dial in on the radial. There we go. So we are getting some turbulence now. We're starting to pick that up. Getting a little bit bumpy. Yeah, nobody wants to see my ugly mug. Trying to grow the channel, not drive people away. Ah, Brian, I agree. Some things need to stay private, or stay private. I met a few of the guys in person, and I have no problem doing that. But other than that, no need to put my face up on YouTube. Alright, we're picking up the other VOR, the SBJ VOR, so that's now come in. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fly up to it until we get the needle swing, and then we'll turn to line up on the next one, and we'll head towards it. And looking at where the other one is, we can fly towards it and then swing out and around and pick up the ILS. So we'll do that on ILS needle 2, which is the green needle, and we'll use needle 1 for the localizer. Getting down below, come back up, a little bit of a gentle climb going, get us back to 10,000 feet. Alright, everything is looking good. So as mentioned, we're coming up towards the Sachs VOR. So if you're interested where we are, we're coming up for Sparta Township. Oh, yeah. Oh, that would have been good. Well, if it changes, let me know. But yeah, other than that, I'm just doing up the day trip for the museum. All right, so everything is looking good. Fuel levels are good. Swing around. Yeah, we're good there. Fuel level is good. Temperatures and pressures are all good. Again, carb temps, they never move. Fuel pressure is good. Engine RPM, manifold pressures are good. Fuel pressure is good. Oil pressure is in the green. And everything else is looking very nice. We're starting to see needle swing. So we're going to come up, we're going to switch over to the SBJ VOR. There we go. And we're going to dial in the one at the airport, which is 1182. And I'm going to put in 1113, which is the ILS VOR. So that is now in, and we can now turn on to our heading as we overfly of about 210 degrees. So we're going to put that to 210, and we will now turn to 210 and start tracking down towards the next VOR. Again, it's a low frequency, so we might not pick it up until we're about 20 miles out from it. Yeah, brakes are good. I did Sault Ste. Marie last week. I'm doing Ottawa next week. The week after, I go to Washington for a couple days, and then the week after that, I'm away for a week on vacation, if I can actually say I take vacation. And then, yeah, keep me busy during the month of July, enjoying myself. But I had the opportunity to do a couple museums, and I figured why not get my aviation fill in. Alright, so we're 47 miles out, 35 miles. We're going to look at starting a slow descent. Probably going to hold it off till 30 actually, since we do have to overfly the airport. So that is fine. Just waiting for the VORs to kick in. Runway heading, just so we know, is going to be 58 degrees. So we'll have to remember to dial this into 58 degrees. So that we'll be able to use the ILS localizer as a reference. Because that's what tells it what radial to indicate. Fuel's still looking good. When we hit the SBJ VOR, we will switch fuel tanks. And make sure we are back on the mains. So we're at 10,000 feet, 30-20, pressures, temperatures are all looking good. And the weather's not looking too bad. Well, we do got that mass out in the distance. So we got about, what's that, 10 miles to go before descent. So we'll take a quick look at where we are. Here's where we are. We're heading between the SACS VOR and the SBJ VOR. There's New York City, and Newark and all that stuff, all located over here. We're coming down the west side of it at the moment, heading down here towards the SPJ VOR. At that point, we're going to fly down towards the airport VOR, which is located somewhere around this area, and then we will head off westerly, circle around, and then we'll come in for the localizer. We're going to be landing on runway 06. Going to be flying it manually, but we'll use the localizer as reference. As you can see, 2,700 foot by Zubax, and then we'll descend down. Once down on the ground, we'll be landing 06. We're going to look at getting off here at Foxtrot, and then we'll taxi into the apron over here. This is not, oh, we've got New Jersey State Police, New Jersey Air National Guard here as well, so should be pretty good. But that's the plan for the rest of the flight. We're about 36 miles to go, and everything is looking good. Sure what that clicking noise is. Something's clicking back here. I've heard it a couple times now. Don't know. I'm not seeing anything change on any of the gauges or the controls. So 4 miles to go. Basically what we're going to do is I'm going to start a downwards descent of about 600 or 700 feet per minute. I'm going to pull the power back to 20 inches, and that should hold our speed roughly where it is for the descent downwards. We're going to watch the terrain. We're coming out of the mountains up the Catskills and all that, but there's still the chance of some little bits, but really 400 or 500 foot elevation on those, so I'm not too concerned about us running into anything that can be considered dangerous. There's that cloud layer there. So just before we head down, we'll grab the weather and see where we stand. So this came out at about 40 minutes ago. Winds are 070, gusting 19, 10 miles of visibility, light rain, scattered 32, overcast 39. I think that's what we're looking at out there. It's that overcast layer. 20 degrees, not bad. 3023 on the barrel. 3023, pretty much what we got set, so we're okay there. And just some cloud precipitation information as well. So I think we are kind of ready to start heading downwards. So we will push the nose over a little bit. I'm going to pull the engine power back to 20 inches with manifold pressure. We'll monitor that on the way down as well. Watch our speed, but the speed should hold roughly where it is. See some of the terrain features here as we come down through northern New Jersey. The Garden State, very green. Has a bad rep due to some certain TV shows and stuff, but very I've driven through it. It's a very nice, beautiful state when you're away from the New York area. But that's kind of where we're headed, into this mess ahead of us here. So we're heading down to an initial let's call it 3,000 feet, 3,500 feet. There we go. Picking up the airport VOR on number 2. It's at 108.2. I think 3,000 feet is what we'll aim for. There's 9,000 feet. Still 6,000 to go. Alright, let's get the landing lights on, and we'll get the wing lights on since we're going into some pretty mucky weather. 20 degrees, not going to need the de-ice as we come through this stuff. Picking up the SPJ VOR. Let's say low altitude. Class us as low altitude. That's fine. I know roughly where we are. Should be a bit of a square lake coming up. There we are. There's the lake. So once we get up beside the lake, we're going to head off in a slightly more southwesterly direction. So I'm heading about 240. Alright, so this is going to put us basically down to VOR. We're going to switch our fuel back to our mains. That's the left main. I'll make sure I get the right one. Did this before and accidentally shut the engine off. Right main. Switch that back over, and we'll see we got 90 gallons instead of the 50 we got there. Down to 7,500 feet coming up, and we're going to turn now to a heading of 240. And we're going to switch over to 1113, which is the ILS frequency, and we're going to remember that 58 degrees. Switch that over, and it's picking up the ILS now. Wonderful. We're going to dial this around to 58 degrees. So there is 60, 58. So now we know the radial, it'll show the radial there, and hopefully we'll get the glide slope indication as well. Never done this with the ILS here, so this is going to be something new. We're heading into the clouds here. It's kind of for 7,000 feet. Our descent is kind of stalled slightly. It'll pull back on the engines a bit with our descent. The powers come up. Going that low. 700 feet, 800 feet is good. We've got 5,000 feet to go. We're going to fly out over past the Doylestown Airport and swing around probably over Lansdale and then head down for the intercept just to bring us in. we're going to leave the cowl flaps in trail the entire way down. Everything else is looking good. So we're getting a little bit lower. And yeah, definitely got the cloud. That's the direction that the airport's in. It's a little bit more that way. See by the needles, they're pointing towards the airport roughly. 6,000 feet, 3,000 to go. Let's gonna look at the LS Zubac's 1900. Okay. We're going to turn to about a 230 now. Going to slowly kind of just work our way around. And there's the localizer indication, and that is correct. We are to the right of the beam. Flying in the opposite direction, but we're to the right of the beam. 5,500 feet. I think at this point we can fly reciprocal. So that is going to be a 238. There. There's the glide slope just popped in. So we're now on the reciprocal heading for the runway. And what I'm going to do is now swing this around to 058. And this will give me a good indication of my direction where I am going. You can see right now I'm flying out, you know, in that line. But for my base, and as I turn in, I can use this as my indicator for lining up. I've got my needles I can use as well. So this will help if we're in the clouds. Help as a reference. We're going to head down towards Warmington, so let's go to a 210 heading. 4,500 feet. So the power back at 20 inches. So slowly descending. We're going to level around 3. We're not too close to the ground. Very nice out there. Got that low cloud, and off towards Trenton. Definitely looks like it's raining. 4,000 to go. Should be another airport just over here. That's the Doylestown Airport. There it is, right there. Of course, we're heading into the rain. They've got sunshine on theirs. So when we level off at 3,000 feet, we're going to go back into cruise power, 30 inches, 2,000 RPMs. I'm going to hold that until we get in a position where we can start bringing our power back. We're almost abeam the airport. See the needles are almost directly to the left. If we look that way, that's where we're headed. It's actually just on the other side of the river. So the airport's probably, I just faintly make out lights there. It's right there. Alright, so we're going to swing in again. We'll go to 190. There's 3,000 feet. Stop our descent. Bring the power back up to 30 inches. And you can see we're below the glide slope now, and we are to the right of the localizer. And of course, when I go my forward view, I cannot see that dial. It is beautiful if you're doing an IFR approach. I guess you can do it that way. All right, so we are all good. 30 inches. 3,000 feet. Turn to slowly start working our way around. It's 180. Oh, I put the lights on. Maybe they don't go down unless the gear goes down. Anyway, it looks very nice out here, nice and sunny and everything. But yeah, we're heading. You can see the airport over there now. We'll try the ILS instrumentation here. See how that works for us. So we're going to head down to the next main road, basically. So we pop out and we look. Yeah, we got this road here. It comes down like this. We're going to cross over. Here's the next main road in this part of town. So once we get down to that, we're going to turn inbound and head to Zubex, which is over here, and then we'll be heading down in for our landing. Let's get this thing level. We want about 3,000 feet. Road coming up. Oh yeah, we got rain all around us here. Alright, so 060, we want 090 for the intercept. We're going to descend down now to 2,500. That's us over top the road. We're going to turn to 090. Slope now. swinging around. There's the lights. So we're going to come out, intercept, turn in. It's getting dark in here. Where is the... cockpit lights on? It's getting a little dark. Alright, we're heading in for the intercept. There's the rabbit, we can see it there. Glide slope is in. We're slowly coming down to 2,500 feet. Keep that descent going down to about 2,000 now. Bring the engines back. Shoot 20 inches. Decrease our descent. Alright, here we go. Mixture is fully forward on both engines. Propellers fully forward. Speed's going to start coming down. I'm going to level off at 2,000 feet. Autopilot is off. I have control. Just watching the needles. Hold about 2,900 feet. Localizer starting to come in. Start our turn. Speed's at 130. First launch of flaps. Keep that power up. Flying in for the localizer there. It's coming into the ball. Looks like we will be flying into rain. Watching the glide slope as well. Alright, speed is 115. Second notch of flaps. Power up. That wind's not pushing us out of whack, so we're going to turn to the right slightly, see if we can get that localizer needle in. Glide slope is starting to come in. Localizer's slowly coming in. Basically fly the needles. all manually. Alright, so we're almost there on the localizer. They're almost there on the glide slope. Power back. There we go. We're centered. Take a little bit of a left turn, and we're going to start down. I'm just going to fly this down. We're a little bit below the glide, so we're just holding slightly. We'll gear down. There, we're not too bad. We're within the ball. So we're a little low. Dipping below the glide slope, so a little bit more power. Flaps 3. On the localizer. Probably not reading it on the other gauge because we are dealing with wind. A little bit below the glide slope, so we'll nose up. Hold our speed at about 110. Below. Alright, a little bit to the right. See, we're drifting with that wind. I can see the airport. There it is there. So we're crabbing slightly. Again, we've got that strong wind. It's coming a little bit out of the right. So that's why we're crabbing that way. 100 knots. I'm going to be landing at about 90. Alright, so we're high. You can see the glide slope getting down there. So we'll let the aircraft come down, pull power. We're still on the glide slope. And what we can do now is, because we are able to see it, we can go visual. And in full flaps, power up, we're going to trim for 90. Okay, we got to watch the a little bit of a crosswind there. So we're full flaps. Gear down. There we are coming in. You can see that crab angle we got going. This is where you'd be nice to be able to lean over slightly and look, I don't want to lean that much, but a little bit would be nice. There we go. So I'm not seeing any pappy lights, so we're just doing this visually, keeping that speed around 90. Getting gust effects here. So we're going to keep the crab until we cross the threshold, and then we're going to be using the rudder to straighten ourselves up and dipping the right wing in order to counteract the crosswind. Alright, so there's 90. Bring the power back. We're going to get down, touchdown around 85. Alright, so rudder in. A little bit of aileron. Down. Oh, I think we bounced. Yeah, we bounced. Alright. Pin the nose. Using the rudder to control us. Let the aircraft slow down. Ease the tail back. Tail is down. Alright, we're going up to the general aviation parking area. As we said, we're going to get off at Foxtrot here. That wasn't too bad. Kind of drifted a little bit around the runway at the end, but we didn't do too bad. So you can do ILS landings in this thing. It does work. Just have to trust your instruments. Well, there's the wind picking up and pushing me around. So we'll get off here at Foxtrot. We're going to go to the apron. So let's get the flaps coming up. Slowly roll in, we will open the cowl flaps. No rain, but it was an interesting arrival here into Trenton, New Jersey. So let's park her up. Whoop. I'm gonna swing her too wide. And we don't want to bring the engines all the way back to idle. There we go. As parking brake is now on, as that is not good for the engine. So bring them down to 1,000 RPM. Let them sit there for a second. That allows the oil to be pulled up out of the sump and splashed around, and also prevents shock cooling the different metals in the engine. So I forgot to put boost pumps on for landing. That's fine. Wing lights can come off. Pitot heat can come off. Position lights will stay on. Landing lights will come off. Actually, position lights can come off. We'll leave them on. Beacon and everything else is good. We can shut down now. Alright, so shutting down the right engine first. And shutting down the left engine. There we go. Engines are shut down. We can come up top. Position lights can come off. Beacon lights can come off. Avionics off. We'll deploy the battery cart. Thank you. Switch over to the battery cart, and we can open up the back doors. And there we are. Welcome to Trenton, New Jersey. Thanks for coming along, Brian. Thanks for watching. David, thanks for popping in as well. And as always, if you like what I do, hit the subscribe button, hit a like, share, bell notification, all that good stuff. We're on our way up to 700 subscribers. And every time you subscribe, a pilot somewhere gets his wings. Thanks for coming out. If you want to learn more about what we fly, when we fly, and how to join us, come over to our Discord. Links are in the description. We'll see you on the next one, which is on Sunday. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.